Morphternoon folks, Mark here, and welcome to the sofa. The seasons are changing, the weather is... yeah, and I'm in the mood to paint some Dryads. Revenants. Something. So why not join me at the painting table, and let's get started. Prep work was especially annoying this time. All those little branches. Getting rid of the leaves made it a bit easier. Plus, it leans into my plan to make the wooden areas dead and wintry. Eventually, I got it all cleaned up, glued up, and decided to make a scenic base for the group. That took 10 minutes to plan out, but if I'd known what would happen next, I might not have bothered. Since we don't have video evidence, let's play PSI. There are small holes drilled here. Perhaps someone had to poke out the bases after they got stuck? One of them has even cracked, likely indicating frustration or carelessness. Strange to have pinned through the base itself, unless they were compensating for a warp? And what's this in the lower socket? A resin leak? Ah yes. They must have tried to fix a warped underside using pins, failed, and resorted to two-part resin. In their desperation, they obviously used too much. Maybe they got themselves into a sticky situation. Still, whoever that miscreant was, a little more sanding, and we were back on track. Starting with filling the edges of the base slots with plasticine. Just trust me. Then I could drill holes for the foot pins and get basing. The raised back separates the models out better, and it gave me space for a tiny waterfall. Did mean a bit of building up cork and wall filler though, for a nice riverbed. A tall tree would set the models into the base more, along with some extra roots for that old growth. Pumice paste, sand, and random basing granules gave a more interesting ground texture. Cutting the plaster at this point makes life easier later. Again, trust me. Then I could build up more texture and detail with roots, tiny pebbles, and so on. At least, until I remembered that the bottom bit would have a riverbed too. Still, more filler and going back over the edges with paste sorted that. All that trust pays off now. The plasticine makes it easy to cut along the base edges and pry the base out. Same with cutting the filler before adding the softer paste. Although I did have to glue a lot of the edges back down. At that point I could poke the models back through the bases, fold the pins over, and finish the areas around the feet. Because it's hard to get terrain to line up when you can't get the models onto the bases, because you have long foot pins, because you need them to grip in the painting handle. Anyway, I could stop here, but there are gaps, and I don't like it. Let's see if this works. A layer of cling wrap, so I could fill the gaps without it all getting stuck together. Made sure to push it down the sides a bit so it's not super thin. Peeled off pretty easily, and those gaps are looking much better. All that's left is the critters. I worked on this quiver bug for a while, changing the branch out and planning to replace the arrows, but I really didn't like it, so that got thrown aside. Instead, I stuck the little flying one to the tree and called it there. Except I didn't. I decided last minute that the tree needed to match the models better. Cue several hours of painting texture gel, dyed green so it's easier to see, over a twig. Life is weird. Now we're done. Once again, scale creep reared its ugly head. Every time. These are probably the easiest and cleanest inset bases I've done for ages though, and having carefully pruned all the leaves, I'm feeling ready to paint spring and winter onto this lot. What do you reckon? Will the bases blend once paint is done? What was I thinking with that tree? Let me know what you think. And maybe I'll see you next time.